shouldn't there be a sky? I'm thinking to myself, right? Shouldn't there be like clouds and a sun or whatever? And he's like, he said, there's no need. There's no sky. Why do we need a sky? God is all and the be all of everything. And then I looked at the trees again, and really there were no shadows. The leaf is hanging here. There's no shadow. There's no shadow behind the rock. There is no room for any shadow or darkness at all. That light of God encompassed everything. So then why do we need a sky or a sun when there's God? None. We have no need for it. I was in such bliss, but I kept thinking in my mind, my babies will be okay. They'll be okay. They'll be okay. You know, not in a worried way. I'm just thinking, you know. And then Jesus said, "You miss your kids." And I just nodded. And he said, "You do know that I love them more than even you do." I said, "Yes." He said, "Do you trust me with them?" And then I said, "Yes." And I literally, at that moment that I said yes, I let them go. Which, something only a mother can really understand, what it is to let your children go. I don't know how I did it, but I let them go. I had that trust that they would be okay. And as soon as I let them go, we were almost at the end of the beach, an even more brilliant white light appears. And also this light is the voice of God, which I remember very clearly, even now. And he said, and I know he said this because I let them go. So when you let them go, he gave them back. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. And he said to me, if you really want to go back to your children, I will let you go. But you must do this book. He shows me the cover of Bare Feet. And many people have told me since then, Randy, oh, you need to change it. You need to switch this up with the covers. This doesn't look right here, and you need to change this. And I said, no. It stays the way it is, or it never gets done. He showed me the cover. Who am I to deviate from that? And I stuck with it. And the name, the title, Bare Feet, should be written like this, in childlike font, and everything. I saw it. Front, back, name, everything. And he said, do not worry about the words. I will give you the courage to write it. Because it was blood, sweat, and tears to relive what I relived in that book. And I said, yes, Lord. He said, you will continue my work, and you will spread my words to my people and beyond. And his words were, and this is his message to the world, I see all, I hear all, I know all that happens in the darkness and the light, and I save. And I am proof, and I am supposed to be proof that he saves. And I said, yes, Lord, I will. And that's when his light disappeared, and I got to go back to my kids. And I remember Jesus hugging me so tight and swinging me around, and I felt this warmth, and it was just like, yes, you're going to go back to your babies now. But there was something else. When I heard God's voice, I was like, wow, that is such a beautiful sound. It was, it was words, it was speech, but it was music as well. I can't really describe it. It was like a combination of both. And I remember the Lord telling me, again telepathically, that's the most beautiful sound you will ever hear. But to those who do not belong to me, it will be the worst sound that they ever hear. I remember that. And I remember Jesus hugged me, and he was smiling. And he has a beautiful smile, by the way. And he held me close, and he put his hand on my head like this, and I felt this warmth go through my entire body, down to the soles of my feet. And I knew he was cleansing me, because these men had me for 2 weeks, assaulted me. The likelihood of having contracted HIV was very high, as I was later told 98% certain that I would have contracted it. No sign of that, no sign of STDs, very little sign of bruising on my body. My eyes became uninfected very quickly. Everything else, more or less dissipated quickly. It confused the doctors, it confused the police, to the point where they thought I was lying. When I told them how badly I was beaten in my police report, they thought I was lying. We don't see those kinds of bruises. You're kicked with steel-tipped boots, and it should still be, blue-black or something, right? The Lord did that, so I could do his work. Wow. And he walked back and he said, everything is going to be okay now. You trust me, everything will be fine. It won't be easy, but you will be fine. And that's where we came across the saints on the beach. Their heads were bowed. I couldn't see their faces. On my left was Moses, Jacob, Isaac, and Elijah, Elisha, and Mother Mary. And no one looked at me except Mother Mary. She turned her head. She smiled. And really, I hunted for that likeness of her for years. I never found it. And one day I was just passing time before an appointment, and I walked into this old antique shop. And way at the back, there is this massive image of her. I bought it on the spot. I said, that's the Mary I saw. And I asked the store owner, Please, please. I told her what happened. I said, I need to know where this painting came from. She said she had no record. Weeks later, she said she has no record of ever having purchased that. She doesn't know where it came from. But there it was. It sits on the side of my bed. And she gave me the warmest smile that a mother can give, which we all know. She said, her message was, God always answers the prayer of a mother. God responds to love. And the love of a mother is akin to that of God. And that's her message I came back with. And I knew my mother was praying day and night for me. Very, very strong woman of God. And I knew she was praying day and night. God answered her. He answered me, but he answered her. And I just started feeling really, really tired. And I curled up in a fetal position on the sand. And the saints, they were praying for me. And I remember the journey back to my body. The journey back to my body, and I remember like back. You know, imagine that you're this big and this free, and then all of a sudden you're squeezed back into this little tiny shell that you're supposed to stay. After you experience this, how do you? It's painful. It's hard being here after you've been there. And I knew from that point on, I was no longer afraid. I was smiling all the time. The keeper was like, "What? What's people smiling now?" All of a sudden, I said, "I'm going home." He said, "Yeah, I knew you were going home," but he didn't understand what I meant. He was thinking, "Oh, I'm going to ensure that you go home," but I knew I was going home because the Lord said so.